Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Philanthropone, and I am back for the new year, here to give my top 3 favorite HTC Vive games to release in January 2018. I've already played some great games, and there are a lot of awesome titles set to launch this year, and the Vive Pro is coming out, so I'm really excited about the HTC Vive and what it has in store for 2018. I have no honorable mentions, so without further ado, here are my top 3 favorite HTC Vive games to release in January 2018. Number 3, Mortars VR. Mortars VR took me by surprise. Normally when I see a game that costs only $1, I don't expect much, but for only 99 cents, Mortars VR brings some awesome multiplayer fun where you control your own personal mortar cannon that you use to attack other mortar combatants. The rules are quite simple. You hit another player and your mortar tower gets taller, you get hit and your tower gets shorter. You will need to use trial and error methods to guess the trajectory of each of your shots. Not only that, but there are other variables one has to take into account, such as wind speed. There are also tower classes, so the gameplay never gets stale as each class has its own unique set of weapons. Not only is the game fun, but the level of polish is amazing for what you pay. Had I not known the price going in, I would have easily believed the game was at least in the $10 range or more. And I think part of the reason why the devs made it so cheap is because they don't really have a choice considering how hard it is to populate multiplayer VR games with players who will play it regularly. The visuals are also great as long as you don't mind the more kind of cartoony, colorful look, and I cannot think of a single hiccup I ran into in my experience with the game so far. So what else can I say? It performs flawlessly and is a heck of a lot of fun. Number 2, Primordian. I'll never forget my first impression of Primordian in my first 15 minutes of playing the game. I could not believe how incredibly smooth the game ran for having such amazing visuals. There is no ghosting, flickering, or frame rate dips at all when you turn your head from side to side or move your hands around, and everything just works amazingly well. And the jungle setting you're put in and everything from the enemy animations to the gorgeous glow and particle effects makes Primordian one of the best looking games on the HTC Vive. The fast-paced, frantic sword combat is a blast, and the ranged weapons are also super fun to use. It's definitely not perfect, but few games are when they first enter early access, and it appears to have a promising future as the game continues to get patched up. Now, I haven't finished the game, but it does look like there is a good amount of content as well for the $25 you pay. The one thing I think the game needs to add is a better kind of tooltip system or just a better tutorial on what everything does exactly. But it isn't a super complicated game, so most people will be able to pick up and play it. I had someone play the game without even reading the tutorial text at the menu area or whatever, and they managed playing just fine for about 20 minutes and didn't even die once. But that's not to say the game is too easy either, because it isn't. It can be quite challenging, but it just goes to show that the game is very playable right from the get-go. The game, like I said, currently goes for $24.99 on Steam. And number 1, Subnautica. Subnautica is a renowned open-world survival game that has been in early access for a long time, but it just fully launched in January. Now, normally I wouldn't include a game on this list that isn't a VR exclusive, but I couldn't help myself here. It has quite possibly been my most enjoyable desktop game to play in VR, even more so than, dare I say, Fallout 4 VR. If you saw my video for the game, you'll know that I did try this game about a year ago in VR, but I got motion sickness because I used a mouse to turn. But using an Xbox One wireless controller while standing up allows the player to physically turn when they want, which eliminated all motion sickness issues I had before, and I just love it.
So the reason why this no longer gets me motion sickness is because standing up and using a controller, I'm able to physically turn, as opposed to using a mouse or using the right thumbstick on my Xbox One controller to turn, which would get me sick.
It may not be as immersive as using the Vive controllers, but I have still really enjoyed it, and if anyone is interested in trying the game with this method, you will need an Xbox wireless PC adapter, or you can probably use a Bluetooth dongle and a PS4 controller as well. The game has amazing visuals, it performs great, and all of the same gameplay mechanics and features from desktop mode can be done in VR as well. What's cool is you can play the same game on either desktop or VR. So if you're feeling lazy some days about playing the game in VR, you can still play your VR game save file on desktop. The game currently goes for $24.99 on Steam. And there you have it, guys, my top 3 favorite HTC Vive games to release in January of 2018. The new year is off to a pretty good start, I would say, for Vive games, and I cannot wait to continue these videos once the Vive Pro launches. And as always, I'd appreciate it if you guys liked the video and let me know in the comments what your favorite Vive games were for January. So that's all for this one. Thank you once again. Until next time, peace.